You create a time machine to end the Black Death. 13 years of your life dedicated to this impossible theory, sleepless nights, calculating temporal displacement algorithms, quantum simulations running on computers you programmed yourself. Your obsession began in university, when you read about the 75 million deaths caused by Yersinia pestis, when you realized that a single intervention in the past could save more lives than any medical discovery in history. You built the Kronos machine in the underground laboratory of your rural property, away from the curious eyes of the scientific community that would call your project madness. 15 meters tall, coated in the titanium vanadium alloy you developed specifically to resist temporal distortions. 3 compact fusion reactors you acquired from the military black market provide the necessary energy. Each component was calculated, tested, perfected by your own hands during years of solitary work. You chose the target year with surgical precision. 1347, the port city of Kaffa in Crimea, 3 days before the arrival of the Genoese ships that would spread the plague across Europe. Your plan is elegant in its simplicity. Insert modern antibiotics into the local water supply. Eradicate the bacteria before it spreads. You calculated that you would save between 75 to 200 million human lives. During the final preparations, you noticed strange behaviors in the local animals. Your dog, Max, who always slept peacefully, now barks directed at the underground laboratory every night between 11:30 p.m. and 3 a.m. You observe birds forming perfect circles over your property, a pattern that defies any ornithological logic you know. Initially, you attribute this to electromagnetic interference from your equipment. On the day of final calibration tests, you notice something disturbing. The mirrors in the laboratory begin to show your reflection with a 2.7-second delay. You time it repeatedly, always the same exact lag. Your instruments detect fluctuations in the Schumann frequency, 7.83 Hertz, as if your machine were interfering with Earth's own magnetic field. You meticulously note everything in your diary, but decide to proceed. When you excavate to install additional grounding cables, you make a discovery that should have served as a warning. 15 meters below your laboratory's foundations, you find human bones. The carbon, 14 dating you, conduct yourself indicates 670 years of age, exactly from the Black Death period. The anatomical characteristics are disturbing. Elongated limbs, reduced bone density, marks of severe necrosis. You file the discovery as historical coincidence and continue your work. The day of activation arrives. You put on your temporal protection suit, adjust the controls you've memorized after thousands of simulations, and initiate the sequence. The Kronos machine awakens with a growing hum that makes your bones vibrate. The displacement is successful. You materialize in Kaffa on October 12th, 1347, 3 days before the historical timeline. You deposit the antibiotics in the city's main well and return to the present within minutes. Back in your laboratory, you immediately check the historical records on your computer. It worked. The Black Death was eradicated in 1347. Medieval chronicles speak of a miraculous recovery, stabilized populations, accelerated development of Europe due to preserved workforce. You saved 120 million lives. You should be celebrating. But 48 hours later, something is wrong. The mirrors in your laboratory stop, showing delayed reflections. Instead, you see other people who appear to be in the same laboratory, but they are different. Thinner, with sunken eyes, yellowish skin. And they see you too. When you move your hand, they don't copy the movement. They just watch with empty expressions. You call Dr. Chun, your only confidant in this project. He answers the phone, crying. His wife doesn't recognize him, insists he died in the 1348 epidemic, an epidemic that never happened in the new timeline. Elena, he whispers your name in desperation. She knows things about the plague she never studied. She speaks medieval Latin fluently. She's not herself anymore. Your security systems begin detecting impossible presences. Multiple biometric signatures identical to yours appear on sensors, but with body temperature 12 degrees below normal. You install additional cameras and see figures wearing decomposing medieval clothes walking through the corridors of your underground laboratory. They have Black Death lesions on their skin, but move as if they were alive. The terrible understanding hits you like lightning. You didn't eliminate the Black Death. You brought it to the present. The 75 million who should have died in 1347 didn't disappear. They remain suspended in temporal debt, waiting for balance to be restored. And now they've come to collect. You lock all the doors, but they open by themselves, as if the security codes were known to the unliving visitors. The temperature in the laboratory plummets. You hear dragging footsteps echoing through corridors you built with your own hands, voices whispering in medieval Latin words you don't understand but that make your blood freeze. You run to the Kronos machine, desperate to reverse the process, but understand the impossibility of the situation. Going back and allowing the plague would mean condemning 75 million people again. But not going back means you look down the corridors and see dozens of them approaching. Then hundreds, their pale faces, empty eyes, hands extended toward you. 75 million dead that you saved, and now each one of them wants the life you prevented them from losing. Temporal balance must be maintained, and you, as the one who interfered, have become adequate payment. You realize it's not just you. It's everyone who was involved in the project, everyone who benefited from the temporal change. You grab your recorder and whisper your last words as they approach. If anyone finds this recording, don't try to save us. Some mistakes are greater than any attempt at correction. Your hands tremble as you hear the main laboratory door being opened. You turn off the recorder and wait. 3 days later, local authorities find your property empty. There are no signs of struggle, no bodies, only the Kronos machine reduced to molecular dust. Historical records return to their original state. The Black Death happened. The millions died as fate had determined. But you and the other 74,997 people who should have died remain somewhere between time, finally fulfilling your role in the cosmic balance you try to break.